Yeah, I got a word gonna bless you. Okay, take this word back to God in prayer. So yesterday I had to move the bell peppers that we planted. We started them in like a little tray. So we had to transplant them, move them into a bigger pot that so they can actually, you know, grow and blossom and the roots can grow longer. But because I moved it fast, because I noticed where they were starting to look a little bit dull in color, they were starting to look like, they was dying a little bit. So I said, whoa, I hate for us to put in all this work for our bell peppers not to grow and produce. So we went ahead, the kids and I, and we transplanted our bell peppers into a bigger plot. It was past time. It was overdue, to be honest, y'all. So we went ahead and got that done. I thought the transition was going to be actually, harder than what I thought it was going to be, but it was a smooth transition. It didn't take much. We had everything we needed. All we did was, got our hands dirty, of course, with the soil and all this good stuff. But it was nothing that water couldn't wash off. So the Lord spoke to me through that, y'all. In the process of me transplanting our bell peppers, y'all gonna have to excuse this squeaky chair, y'all. In the process of us transplanting our bell peppers to a bigger potting soils where they can produce, this is what God spoke to me. So I pray that this word blesses you and finds you and reaches you in this hour. So many of you, you may experience an abrupt move or a sudden change, okay? But it's only for your good, because the Lord had to move you so you can thrive. He saw where you were getting too comfortable, okay? He saw that this is the push that you needed, but it may feel, a bit painful when God pushed you. It may feel a bit painful when God, uproot you and move you. Because when I had took out the bell peppers, and I wish I had recorded it, but you got to get a visual. I pray that the Lord give you a visual. So when I pluck up the bell peppers from the small potting tray, the roots were all the roots had nowhere to go. It had so much to give, but it had nowhere to go. It was like in this little area to where it was going to eventually die if I didn't move it to bigger and better. So the Lord is telling you this season that this move may feel, a little bit rough, a little bit scary, but this is the push that you needed, okay? Because where God is taking you, you got so much to give, and you can't do that while you're there. So many of you are moving locations fast, quick. It may not be, what you wanted, but guess what? It's what you need, because the Lord has already put so much in you, and He's going to see that what He's put in you grows. The Lord is going to, the gift that God put in you, the purpose that's in you, okay, He got to move you. So many of you in this season may be moving. The Lord may be moving you or separating you from family, friends, loved ones, okay? This is your season where you got to come out from among them. But trust and believe that this push is going to put you right where you need to be. It may be uncomfortable, okay? It may not feel so good. It may be painful, but this is what you need. Sometimes the Lord got to push you. It's almost like a child, Lord forbid. It's almost like, okay, I'm just going to say, someone standing in the road, right? And you don't see a car is coming to hit you, and then suddenly someone pushes you. The push may hurt, but it's to save your life. Do y'all get that? Okay? So that's what God is doing. The push may hurt you a little bit, but it's to save your life. Just like, the birds push their babies out of the nest to teach them to fly, because eventually you got to learn. That way predators won't come in and gobble you up. At some point, you're going to need that push. So the Lord is watching over you. Whatever He is putting on the inside of you, it's going to manifest, it's going to perform, it's going to grow, it's going to thrive. But sometimes we don't thrive because we in these small environments. It could be we around small-minded people, right? We could be around negative people, negative thinking. worldly people who don't have a relationship with God. And so sometimes the Lord will have to push us out of our comfort, out from among our family, out from what we are familiar with, and the Lord pushes us into bigger, better. All right, so expect to move unexpectedly. Some of y'all, it may hurt because it's like family betrayal. It may hurt because they told you you could stay here, until you get back on your feet. They told you, oh, just take your time, and they opened the door and let you in, and then they started to mistreat you little by little. Then they start to talk crazy to you, right? And then they start to talk down on you, and then they start to make you feel like you the one crazy or lazy. But this is the push that you didn't know you needed. It may hurt. It may be uncomfortable, but this push is going to put you exactly where you need to be. And you're going to look back on that day and you're going to say, wow, God, I thank you for the push. It hurt, but the promise, y'all, the promise that God had for you, that hurt is going to be small. I mean, the hurt is still going to be big, but when you look at the promise and see the reason why he had to push you, that it was to make you become better, it was to make you grow, it was to push you into your purpose, then you're going to tell God, thank you for the hurt. You're going to even go back and tell your enemies, thank you. Like, seriously. Because had you not pushed me, or had you not, did what you did, then I would not have been able to get to where God was taking me. So one day, you're going to be able to go back and tell your enemies, thank you for the hurt, because it only pushed you closer to the promise. So take this word back to God in prayer. Remember to stay prayed up. Remember to put God first. Remember to seek the Lord through fasting and praying. Because it may not feel good. Because when I uproot the bell peppers, the roots had looked dry. It had looked dry. Okay? This push is so you can thrive. Because you may be looking at your finances like, Lord, what am I going to do? I don't have the finances. My finances might look a little bit tight. When I tell you God got people in place to bless you, those are your divine helpers. The Lord got people in place to bless you, but you got to trust his plan. You can't go. You can't go back. Okay, you can't beg to go back into that transplant pot. I said plot. See, plot. Y'all gotta catch this, because that's a plot of the enemy. So don't beg to go backwards, but embrace the change. Embrace what God is doing. Okay, pray and ask God to give you courage to face the changes, to embrace the changes, to go through with what he's doing. To go through. You got to be willing to endure and go through the long suffering, because after the suffering, y'all, comes the promise. Remember that. After the suffering comes the promise. You got to be willing to go through. You're going to be able to share your story and tell people, wow, people won't believe your story. They won't believe what you've been through. They're not going to believe it. But behind what you're going through, God gets the glory. Behind what you're faced with right now, God gets the glory. So you might as well start telling God, thank you. Your story is unfolding. It's beautiful. It's already laid out. It's already planned out. God has it mapped out. He's teaching you to trust him even when you're going through. But this is the push that you needed. You got so much in you. You won't be able to produce in that small environment. You can't even, because haven't you been praying, asking God for better? Well, maybe you haven't asked for it like this, but the Lord got a funny way of answering our prayers, y'all. Let's just be real. Let's just be real. We were like, Lord, I wanted this, but I didn't know I had to go through all this. But see, while you're going through, the Lord is providing. While you're going through, God is still making a way. You understand? While you're going through, the blessings will still be released upon you. The Lord got people in place to bless you. Don't trip. Don't trip. Don't trip. Where God is taking you, it's going to shock them because they remember how they did you. Okay? Where God is taking you, it's going to shock them because they gotta humble themselves before they can approach you again. They're gonna have to apologize for what they did to you before they try to come get back in your life again. Because where God is taking you, you are about to be, your life is going to be better than where you was at. Y'all really got to receive this word. Use me, Holy Spirit. Where the Lord is taking you, y'all, they're going to be shocked because I see in the spirit, y'all, what I see is like, you may be staying with someone who got a small compact place, right? And you don't want to be a burden to them. You don't want to be a burden to them. You just want to get back on your feet. And they making you feel less than. They talking down on you. They disrespecting you, treating you all type of how, accusing you of things that you know you didn't do, accusing you of bad stuff, and you like, really? Because see, you done a lot for this person, but you never threw it up in their face. You did a lot for them, but this is what the enemy is doing. He is using them to try to tear you down. But let me tell you what God is doing. God is giving you strength through this video. The Lord is giving you a word through this video. You got to keep going. You got to keep trusting God, even when it hurts. You got to keep trusting God, even when you don't know which direction you're going. You got to keep trusting God. Even when you don't hear from him, you got to trust that he's there. You got to trust that he's there. Because see, they won't be able to get the credit for where God is taking you. They won't be able to say they did this for you because it wasn't them, it was all God. This was necessary, y'all. This was part of the process. I'm telling you, the hurt that you are experiencing, the push that you are experiencing, is part of the process. Because it's something better waiting on you. It's all God's timing, divine timing. You got to show up. If you never move from that place of being comfortable, if you never move from that place of complacement, then you're not going to know what God got for you over there. The push is what you need. So many of you, I keep seeing the Lord moving. The Lord is like plucking you up. Okay, this mine's. I know you love them. I know you want to stay there. I know you're comfortable. I know this, but no, I got something better for you. You prayed to have your own, and that's what God is doing. You about to have bigger and better than what they got. And I'm being honest. I'm being real. They're going to look at you like, whoa, wow, what? I remember whenever you were sleeping on my couch. Yep. But look at God. Won't God do it? See, they can't take the credit for where God is taking you. They cannot take the credit for what God is doing for you. You ain't got to beg. You don't have to borrow. You ain't got to run behind nobody. You don't have to beg nobody to treat you right. You don't have to beg nobody to love you. You don't have to beg anyone to do right by you. I'm telling you what God is about to do for you. You're going to see. You're going to see what God is doing. You're going to wake up and you got to pinch yourself to see if it's real. You know, like, I can't believe it's true. Every day you wake up, every day the Lord open your eyes, you will be like, I just cannot believe I was just here. I was just at the bottom. See, this is that epic bounce back nobody saw coming. This is the epic bounce back that nobody saw happening for you because you was so at the bottom. They didn't see you coming up from out the situation that you was in. They didn't see this happening because you ain't had nothing going for yourself. But my God, look at what God about to do. Take this word back to God. And remember, hold on to God as you transition. Hold on to God's word as you are in transition. It's about to get better. Your finances might be looking a little bit crazy right now, but guess what? The finances are already there. That's nothing for you to worry about. The resources is already there. Everything is already in place. God is pushing you. This is the prayer that's being answered. As I mentioned, the Lord just got a funny way of answering prayers, right? I love you, and God loves you way more. Take this word back to God in prayer. Bye, y'all.